Welcome back to the Tribal Lines podcast, another Survivor podcast, podcasting about the best reality TV competition series in the world. Talking about our favorite show with our president, Jeff Probst, Survivor. We're back with season 46, episode 2. It's picking up. We're learning about some new dynamics. We're seeing some things shift. Yanu ends up going back to tribal, but let's take it all the way back. Before we get into this episode, I want to say what's up to my co-host. What up, Steve?
What's up, Pat? I'm excited to recap this episode. On the last podcast, I was kind of saying how I didn't really love the cast that much. Episode one wasn't my favorite episode, but I had a feeling that episodes coming up were going to be good, and that episode one was just a fluke. I was right. I really loved episode two. I thought it really showed us a lot more about the cast. It made them seem a lot more lovable. It showed some scenes that on a normal hour-long episode we would not have seen, which were actually really exciting scenes and funny scenes. Um, I am starting to like some of the cast members that I didn't originally like going into it. It's coming around, and I thought it was a great episode overall.
Nice. Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, no, I thought it was a good one. I kind of disagree with the decision to send Jess home. We're gonna get into that.
Really?
I disagree. I don't think it was the smart move there.
That's
Uh,
crazy.
I love Jess. I don't know, man. We'll talk about kind of why. But before we get into this episode, I do want to acknowledge something we're doing. We're doing Survivor trivia. Look, we just want, our friends and people, family, friends, and listeners of the pod to really just get involved with the podcast and answer some fun trivia. And it's really just, it's no effort to you than to just have some Survivor knowledge. And if anything, we're gifting you, right, with your knowledge because we want you guys to really just get the most out of, listening to the podcast and to, being a Survivor fan. So, you can win, a cameo, an item of Survivor clothing. You can win a buff, a Survivor immunity challenge, that's worth like up to $50. Like there's a lot of things that you can win here, a lot at stake. So without further ado, let's get into it the way that we were doing it last time. Steve has a book of trivia questions. I'm going to pick a random page number. Some could be multiple choice, some could be open-ended questions. So we're going to get right into it. Steve, anything you want to say about the trivia before we get to the question here?
Yeah, so all the things Pat just mentioned, the Survivor cameo, the item of clothing for Survivor clothing, Survivor buff, and a Survivor immunity challenge, all up to $50. Last time we said we were only doing a $50 cameo, but for the first six episodes, we're going to do whatever you want. So whoever the winner is after the first six episodes, they can choose between all of those possibilities, whatever you want. As long as it's $50 or less, we'll get it for you. So you should definitely make sure to submit your answers by DMing us on Instagram at tribal_lines_pod. Um, it's free to enter. All you got to do is send your answer, and then you have a chance to win possibly $50 worth of Survivor stuff. So you might as well do it. If you're already watching the podcast, go send us this answer and try to get an entry. And every single episode that we have a trivia question, every answer you submit will give you one spot on the wheel that will spin to determine the winner. So you can have, if you answer trivia questions for all six episodes, then you'll have six spots on the wheel, more chances to win. So I suggest you guys answer as many trivia questions as possible to have the best chance of winning.
For sure. For sure.
All right. So just to remind you, we have 204 pages. So what page number are we going to pick?
I'm gonna go to the back of the the back of the book here. I'm gonna
Okay.
pick like a late number. I don't want to pick the last page. I want to save that for a later date. 199.
Okay. All right. 199. Let's see what we got. The back of the book.
199. What do we got?
Okay. This is a tough question, but this is also multiple choice. So
So I got a chance.
we got a chance.
We got a
Okay.
chance out here.
All right. Here's a question. What player had the most visits to Exile Island in a single season? All right. So we got three choices. All right. Let's see. We got A, Candace from Cook Islands, B, Sugar from Gabon, or C, Taj from Tocantins. All right. So it's one of those three. Submit your answers, DM us. And if you're right, you'll get a spot on the wheel.
Do you think I would know this? Because I don't know that I do.
You know, if they didn't give us three choices, I don't think I would have known this, but I think I know the answer. Well, I do know the answer because I see it, but I think I would have known the answer given those three choices. But without those choices, I don't think I would have been able to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, like Steve said, get those answers in. You can DM us on Instagram. It's the way to enter. And we'll make sure your name pops up on that wheel when we do the drawing and tune in. It'll be a live feed. It'll be super fun and we'll talk about the episode and all that good stuff at the time. But
Yeah.
we got another episode to talk about. We got episode 2 of Survivor 46 underway here. Let's get, right into it. Steve, initial thoughts about the episode, anything you kind of want to talk about with the beginning of this episode?
Yeah. So in the beginning of the episode, we start off with Banu on the sand, and Kenzie is worried about Banu being too passionate and too emotional, not good at keeping secrets, especially what he did at Tribal Council, practically giving away the plan of voting out Jelinski, um, saying like that it's probably going to be pretty much trying to say that it's going to be Jelinski. Jeff's like, "Are you saying that Jelinski's going to be the one tonight?" And he's like, "It's time to vote." I think that was a really bad play by him. We'll see that he makes another bad play at this upcoming tribal council. He is definitely not looking like a good ally to be able to trust in the future. So I'm very scared for him
Is
going
he not a
forward.
is he is not a good ally, or is he just too too open with his emotions, too nice, too kind, vulnerable, like
Yeah,
someone who
that
just
that's
doesn't have that it's that lack of that social read to keep some things within. Like he's saying, everything that he's saying is probably what everyone's feeling, right? It's that ability to keep it within and hold on to it, right? And I
exactly
think it's but that is what ultimately can make him a bad ally. So that's that argument of that's that quality. But I think he has good intentions, and I think that he has this savvy survivor thing about him that's super fun to watch. I think he's on a journey, and I think that he's come from a spot to where he knew that this might not be a realistic thing for Banu, but then he comes to the States, he gets citizenship, he does all these things, and it's someone like that, you can he's believing that he can achieve anything, and that's something that is so inspiring to watch because it's so true. You can come from any walk of life, any avenue, and you could come from the top and hate that you come from the top and just grind your way to your own path. And then people that have start with little to nothing that come to these, and that's what makes Survivor so great. So he's been fun to watch, but going back to it, I'm starting to recount calling him a good ally because he probably is bad at ally. Like if we're talking
um,
games, bad
I
ally. Love
I
you, but
think in terms of like
it's just the
trust.
reality of what it is.
Yeah, I feel like in terms of trust, like he'll be
That's
a
fine.
number. He'll be a number for you. So if you go into the merge with him, you know that he's not going to flip on you if you show your loyalty to him as well. The
Yeah.
problem is that he might expose the plan because, he hears his name one time or he hears an ally's name one time and now he's like going crazy, running around the island, or like saying stuff at tribal council that could cause people to play idols or change their votes, and whatnot, or play their shot in the dark. So it's definitely something to think about when trying to determine who you want to move forward with, who you can trust. We'll talk more about his whole blow up at the second tribal council also, which was even worse than the first one. Um, but yeah, another thing I wanted to say about Banu, which I thought was hilarious last episode and also this episode, was for the pretty much the entire second half of last episode, his shirt was inside out. which I thought was hilarious. And in the beginning of this episode, his shirt was on backwards.
It just shows
So
where his mind is.
what?
It just shows where his mind is.
Yeah, yeah, he's all over the place.
Lost it. They've all lost it. And that's what's so crazy. It's like I have this buff on right now because it's like I don't know, it's like I just wanted to wear it, right? It's like I feel like people that loves like get a buff, you just like put it on every now and then, right? And it's
Mhm.
like I want to wear this buff and like I envision myself like playing. It's like when I'm out there though, it's like, could you really like could I really it's like one of those things. And it's tough. But they're all, under the conditions, and I know we're gonna get to the other tribes later on, and I cannot wait to talk about a certain comment made at the immunity challenge. So we have a lot of
Oh
fun
yeah,
things to get into. But this season just has like a edge to it. I feel like all of the players like there's some power players in there. There's some people that are like there to like take names and like win big money and like get the bag. You know what I mean? It's like there are people, I feel like Tevin is one of those people that will like do anything for the money. I think Venus is someone that will do anything for the money. Randon, someone that
absolutely.
would do anything for the money. Tim,
Mhm.
someone that would do anything for the money. Maria, someone that would do anything for the money. Charlie would do something. I feel like all of these Tiffany can I feel like all of these people have like a big thing that we've been missing because I feel like Survivor has been the last couple years. When you look back on it, do we like it because of the gameplay and because of like the complexity of it all, or do we like it because of like it was a very like kind, touchy feely element of Survivor that was like it's back after COVID. It's so pure. Everyone's just happy to be there on this like personal journey. Now we're getting this mix of like journey and like I'm not saying like the gameplay is there yet because it's been two episodes, but it's like there's an edge to these players that I think this is going to be a like very cutthroat season. I think it's going to be like very cutthroat. I don't think they would have showed us that soda comment that we're going to get to if it wasn't a cutthroat season.
I think that's gonna definitely make for an interesting merge if Soda and Q and all them end up getting there. Um, but I also wonder if that come in actually won't matter at all, or
Why
maybe
not?
it
It's
will. I don't know.
beautiful.
We'll
Saying it.
see
Why not?
later on in the episodes. But yeah, it was definitely a funny comment. I love that. We'll talk about that later. Um, but like with Yanu, like they're really struggling. They have no fire. They have barely no any food. They've been eating ants. That's like their main source of protein. Um, they're all over the place, and it's not looking good for them. I think, like I said last episode, it seems like the last few seasons there's been one terrible tribe, and honestly, I don't like. I guess the last two seasons or so, the tribes have been pretty badly. They weren't like even. I feel like there were two tribes that I knew going into it were probably going to lose a lot.
Well, see,
Um,
I feel that, but on a separate term, I feel that with 41 and 42, not 43 and 44. Because if
I
you think
so
about
you
it,
so 44 and 45, I think had tribes that lost almost every immunity challenge. And I think yeah, those two seasons. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that you're taking away um, their flint, the fact that they don't have fire, they don't have food, they're uncomfortable sleeping, they're cold, they're not able to eat as much as the other tribes. Um, and so they're struggling, plus the fact that they have to go to tribal council and they're mentally not in it because they have to deal with all the emotions of voting someone out too. So I think all of that put together is making them definitely weaker at the challenges, and giving the other tribes a little bit of a, I guess, advantage in these challenges. So I
are you
think
cool with
I
that?
wonder if anything changes if they don't take away the flint and if it
Oh,
evens out for the tribes.
maybe. I don't know. But
I don't think that's a big
probably.
thing, but it's
I mean, but
definitely
are you cool with it? Because like, this big argument is that it's not the same game because it's not 39 days. It's but Jeff calls it a relentless pace and there's this monster like I don't like to get into that. I don't feed into that fairy tale of fucking Survivor. But what I do
no.
read into is that it's a different game than what it was. And it doesn't mean that just because it's different that it's automatically easier. Just because you take away days doesn't make something easier. You know what I mean? Yeah, I mean maybe the outlasting part because of physical days
No,
may
I think it's about the same difficulty level. It's just it's less days, but it's harder conditions.
Exactly. And I feel like that's like, we have Survivor, so why are people on Facebook bitching? You know what I mean? So it's just like you just gotta,
I think it's because
look,
like 39 Days has been around for literally forever, like
yeah,
since
but
I
it's
think
like
for 40 seasons. So
it's kind of like when you like, you had the iPhone and then we finally get the front facing camera. It's like it's just it's good. It might even be better. I feel like casting is good. Like the game's good. I would just take away some advantages, but like that's neither here nor there. Let's stay on episode 2 here. Talking a bit about the Anu tribe. What are your thoughts about this tribe just kind of overall, just two episodes in at this point? Like what is your overall feel like before Jess gets voted out? Like where are you kind of standing?
um it's definitely interesting because now that Jelinski's out, we have a three-person alliance of Kenzie, Tiffany, and Q. And they have two people on the bottom who seem to be really bad Survivor players so far, Banu and Jess. So
So
if they lose two more challenges, then those two are gone, and you have three people who are in a tight alliance. But what's interesting is we'll talk about this more later on, but Kenzie is Tiff is Kenzie's number one, and Q's number one is Tiff also. But I think Q and Kenzie are worried that Tiffany's number one is the other person, so they're possibly going to want to get each other out down the line. And Q is starting to think about that this early on. Plus, Kenzie is trying to
like you.
make like this fake alliance with Banu and Jess, and then Jess now wants to target Kenzie, and it's chaotic. It's very chaotic. I don't it's definitely going to be interesting to see who gets out of that tribe and how many of them going into the merge and how they're able to interact with the other tribes. Um, because I know Q, he seems like someone who I think would possibly rub people the wrong way. I think Kenzie, just from a five-person tribe, is already playing way too hard, and I think she'll do something very similar, maybe like a Caleb type thing where she's
She's
going to
giving
just try to
Ellie.
go to everybody.
She's giving Ellie from 43.
She is. She is
She's giving
giving
a
Ellie from
late pre-merge.
43.
Like a
Yeah,
late pre-merge socially, like she gives winter vibes. She's like socially like cool. She's like got a cool like story and image to her.
I
She's
could
the one
see
that
Q being like the Gabler to try to take her out at the beginning of the merge to try to get an easy vote.
yeah,
Um, maybe to have Tiffany all to himself.
yeah.
Um, so I don't know. It's a lot. That tribe is a lot. The only person I feel very confident is going to do well is Tiffany. She seems to not be playing too hard, yet she has everyone kind of wrapped around her finger. Um,
I always thought she was a badass dude.
yeah,
From
and she has an
preseason,
idol.
she's my winner pick. In some places, I make a couple winner picks depending on who I'm talking to because I'm in a
Uh,
couple little things. Tiffany, if you're ever watching, you're my top winner pick. If I had to take like a winner of all winners, it's you. So Ben, you're number two. Which is a hot take. I think is a pretty hot take. We'll get into Ben and the Sega tribe soon. But Tiff is just a badass, dude. Socially awesome. Physically good. Strategically good. Great smile, great aura, great vibe, calm presence. Someone who's like I feel like I could like go to and talk to. Someone who reminds me of like some of my friends. Like just like Tiff's awesome. Perfect. Like A plus casting, winner pick. And if I'm wrong,
I honestly think Tiff is the only person is definitely going to be the last one to survive out of all of them, in my opinion, unless she's somehow blindsided early on, like Kelly. Like I thought Kelly was going to be the last one um out of blue from last season, and she got blindsided. So if that happens to Tiffany, then maybe she doesn't make it to be the last one from her original tribe. But I just think there's too many bad qualities from the other people left on that tribe that
but think about it.
somehow they're gonna get screwed over.
No, think about it. If them three can make the merge, she has the two best shields ever. She has a physical threat and someone who could rub someone the wrong way with his passionate energy and the way that his conviction in his voice and the way that he wants to do certain things, he's going to do it. like the way he expect that could rub people the wrong way. I'm not saying it's bad quality. Love Q,
Mhm.
big Q guy as well.
Yeah.
Kenzie, so social, kind of like an Ellie, someone who, someone that we were talking about from 43, like someone who can just like you look into their eyes and you want to be their friend, and you believe everything that they're telling you. That is the most dangerous thing ever, right? So you have the two best threats and you're already a likable person. So it's like you have like, but you're not as vibrant as Kenzie and you're not as, you know,
Physically strong. And
yeah, stuck in your ways as Q in some of his ways. He's giving like Roxroy sometimes, like, you know what I mean? So it's like Roxroy was like, I'm a dad, I'm gonna do it this way. Q's that way in a different type of authority, it's just like, or kind of like,
use that way in a strategic way rather than a just
uh-huh,
surviving way.
uh-huh. Yeah. So, you know, it could be a really good thing for Tiff for those three to for Banu to
I
go
think
after
that's a
Jesse.
great point. I think
Yeah.
Tiffany has two big shields.
Because they'll also be a target after the Tika 3. Like that's like a no one wants the underdog to get traction in the merge. Like you don't want the underdogs to be the swing vote. You either want them to be solely with you, but how can you trust that early on? Like you might want to team up with the other tribe that has a little bit more numbers and take out those and then try. It's so
Yeah, I
so
just
so many seasons. You can do it so many ways. So it's tough.
I'm just nervous with the whole Q wanting to get Kenzie out thing.
I
That
don't know if that's real. That's
Kenzie,
real.
that sounds like a Sabaya type move where they decided to take, no, not a Sabaya move because that was just to save himself, a Caleb move to try to take out Caleb that early last season to get him out third, um, just because he's going to be a big player later on, like, and you're not going to win if you take him to the final three. Like your allies pre-merge, you don't need to be in the final three with. You just need to be able to work late into the game with them. For them going after Caleb last season so early, I
That's like
think
Jesse going
it was
after
a bad
NECA.
move.
I mean, that's like Jesse going after Cody at the NECA vote.
Yeah, like something like that. It's so silly that they went after Caleb so early, and I think if Q goes after Kenzie this early, like next tribal that they go to, and they don't get out Banu, I think it's a mistake. I think Kenzie is not going to turn on Q or that early. Maybe middle of the merge, you have to worry about that. But I think she's going to want as many close allies as possible. And if they stay as tight as they are right now from the pre-merge, then I don't think Q has anything to worry about. Just because Kenzie is a social player and able to make good relationships. That's it could be a pro, that could be a con also. But I think personally it's more of a pro to have someone who is able to easily talk with people, get people on their side because if you can get someone on your side, they want to work with the people that they're working with also. So if Kenzie can pull some people in to work with Q and Tiff, I think that'll be better than taking out someone who can be a threat later on in the game.
Yeah, like you're in the final five of your tribe, not the final five. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you're making the big move too quick if you're going that route. I think those three ultimately do stay strong of the rest of that tribe if it had to come
I
to.
hope so. I don't know.
That's
I feel
fine.
like
That's I
Q's
don't
gonna want
think
to go
any of
after
them.
Kenzie.
Yeah, I don't. I think it would be silly to steer like that's a three. Like if they ultimately get rid of Jess and they we'll get to that later on more and they get rid of Jelensky and if they get rid of Banu like that's a three that's like you got through three votes together and like the other tribes maybe went through one or two. So it's like it's more voting is a huge thing because you get back to camp and you have to reflect on that and it's a hard thing to do because we play these live games and it's like you vote someone out like sixth or seventh and it's just like they played a couple hours. Well, at least people played like a couple days. Like it's a very tough experience to go through. So but enough about the Yanu tribe for now. Let's go on to another
The
tribe.
Orange Tribe, yeah.
You want to talk about Nami? Nami,
Nami, not
not me.
Nami, yes,
Yeah.
Nami. Tevin, he's controlling that tribe. It seems like he has everyone wrapped around his finger. He's close with everybody except for Venus, and I
Who's
think that
Tevin's closest? Who's Tevin's closest ally? Is it Hunter?
Hunter. It seems like from the dynamic that Venus described very well in her confessionals, either her or Randon or both, I don't remember, but it seems like Hunter, Soda, and Tevin are in a three-person alliance, where Hunter and Tevin are in a alliance of their own, and they pulled in Soda as their third. Um, and then they have Liz, who's just there. but is not rubbing anyone the wrong way like Venus is, but is also not in the majority alliance. And then we have Randon, who again, Venus is the most obvious person on the outs, but Randon is definitely probably right there next to Liz for who's going to go out second. So I think that's pretty much what it is. There's a three-person alliance. Venus is definitely the bottom, and then Liz and Randon are like the next level below that. So that's what it seems like from Orange. With Tevin having a great relationship with all of them except Venus. So if Tevin has his way, which it seems like he probably will next tribal, it seems like Venus will be the main target. We'll see what happens with that. But Soda feels close with Venus, but since she's in the majority and the tribe doesn't like Venus, she can't really be a number for her. So she's trying to distance herself from Venus, rejecting Venus's request to talk strategy, which I thought was really odd. I feel like you should always like accept it at least, or because if you're like outwardly rejecting it, it definitely is going to set off alarm bells for Venus, and she's going to definitely now feel like she's on the bottom if she didn't already.
Well, think about it this way for me. Episode 1, I was drinking the soda. Episode 2, I'm not drinking the soda. What's wrong with Venus? I like Venus, and I'm not
I
drinking.
love
I'm not.
Venus.
I'm not like on the Tevin wave right now too. I'm a little like why do we all not like Venus? I like Venus. She's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know.
I
I
wouldn't
guess
work with
her
Venus.
confession, based on her attitude in the confessionals and everything, I guess I could see how that could rub people the wrong way in the game. But to an entertainment standpoint, she is someone that we all love. So
Oh,
I
I'm
guess
still working with Venus out there, and it's like all about like I feel like she wants to play. And for me, who's like a social player who like is not as much as like a like I don't have like as much as like the strategic game bot in me. It's more of like I maneuver socially, and that's like my strategic game, and like I am able to like form bonds that way. It's like
Mhm.
like she's a gamer. Like I want to play with her. Like I want to play
Yeah,
with her.
I would love to play with her, but I guess Nami does not.
Mhm.
Um, and I don't know. I think it's silly that they're not like Soda won't talk to her and everything.
That's just poor
Um,
strategy. It's so early. You got to talk to everybody.
yeah, and it also amazes me how little strategy talks people have on days that they're not going to tribal. I guess it makes sense because there's so many hours in the day, and it can look a little sketchy talking to people for too long one-on-one strategy combos. When you have like days out there, it's like 2 or 3 days in between tribal councils. So I guess I understand, but because it could make you seem like you're playing too hard, kind of like Kenzie. But I still think like you should be trying to have like it shouldn't be odd that you're having like strategy talks with different people. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I guess I feel like there's probably a world where they've like talked multiple times and like they just show that one time where she's like, ah, not right now, and it comes off in a way.
Yeah, maybe because
You know
she
what I mean?
did
Like,
say
'cause
like maybe she I think she realized what she said was wrong because she was like no, and then Venus was like really why, and then she was like maybe later.
yeah, like trying to push it off is just rather not
Yeah.
at the time rather than not at all. Yeah, this tribe, I like this tribe, but like I feel like it's the most clear cut tribe that I've seen as far as like what's gonna happen. Like I feel like they're gonna be strong. I feel like I feel like five of them at least are gonna make like the Mergatory or whatever. I feel like Tevin and Hunter are gonna be like the main characters of that tribe, have the most screen time of that tribe. Like I think they're gonna. I feel like we would have got like that Andy Griffith thing if that didn't mean anything. I think they're gonna stick together pretty well. Um, I I kind of disagree in the Liz and Random. I think Random is way more on the bottom than Liz.
I think I think Randon is like on the bottom in terms of like people might not trust him necessarily, but in terms of Liz, I don't really see how she's getting along with people.
They
I
haven't
think
showed us anything
people
really good about her.
I just don't know. I think they're playing up the whole Randon on the bottom thing just because he finds an idol and he's wants to work with Venus on the bottom, and I think it's a good storyline. Um, and I think he could be even more on the bottom if he tries to help Venus in the upcoming vote. But I think Liz, that we just haven't seen enough from Liz, and whenever we have, it hasn't been good. It's just been weird, kind of her
Well,
conversations with people. So I
I
don't know. I
I
could see
thought
her being just a like, let's just cut her off right before merge and go in with
Mhm.
actual people we think we can play the game with strategically. I don't know.
Yeah, like part of me is like, is she like destined for like an Emily Flippin type edit to where it's like this girl is instead of like Emily who's like very like outspoken and like had all these things like in the first like episode or two and then like had upside, she was like someone to root for. Is this someone who's like being shown as just like very like arrogant, but that like I've made all this money, all this stuff, but then it like fades into what it really is, which is like just, insecurity and this journey and stuff, and she becomes someone that we root for. Who
Hmm.
knows? I have upside for
I don't know.
Liz because I really liked her in the pregame. I really liked her in the pregame. I think that, sometimes, or more often, always Survivor's telling a story, but it's also putting on a television show. So it's only going to show us things that's going to be entertaining and keep people engaged. And you have to have people like what Liz is being portrayed as to keep it fun and to keep it. If everyone's always kumbaya and everyone's painted as this awesome person, like that's not what Survivor is. If that's what you wanted to be painted as, you signed up for the wrong thing because that's not
Yeah.
always going to be the case. You could be the best person in the world, but you could be painted the worst on Survivor. That's
Yeah.
just the way that and it's all reality TV, right? And people have to know that. And so that's why I take things like that with a grain of salt. But I feel like it's always trying to show you something. So it's probably not great for Liz, but part of me wants to hold
I
on to this hope that it's like an editing thing to where
I
she's gonna
think
like lost.
I think they just needed to their goal is to try to get everybody a confessional each episode. So I think that was just like something they can throw in for Liz because not much is going on right now. It doesn't seem like she's playing the game. Doesn't seem like she's making any alliances. It doesn't seem like she's rubbing anyone the wrong way so much to the point where she's definitely the next to go.
Yeah.
Um, but you got to think last season for like a good 4 or 5 episodes, the only thing we ever got from Katura was "I hate Bruce" over and over again, and she ended up getting fourth place. She ended up being a big character on the season. So it could just be there's nothing going on with Liz right now, so they don't have much to go off of. But when she starts to be strategic, when she starts to make moves, when they start to go to tribal, maybe we'll get more from her. I think that could be it too.
Nice. Well, let's get into the Vibe tribe.
Vibes.
Let's get into the Sega tribe. I love this tribe. This tribe's awesome and it has some very, very interesting dynamics because unlike Nami, to where I feel like they are playing, this bit of this slower game, like on Sega, I feel like there's some more clear cut, like there's a two here, there's a two here, and there's a swing. Get a little Malcolm and Denise type cameo.
Yes, Malcolm and
Always
Denise.
awesome to see, but this tribe excites me because there's like a lot of people that I root for on this tribe. And on the podcast,
Yeah,
I try to be as biased as possible, but there's
as
some people on this,
unbiased as possible. Yeah.
yeah, right. But
Okay.
yeah, I try to like, give everyone, their, you're playing Survivor. You gotta be good at something, right? So it's for me, this tribe though they're so rootable, if that's a word. Like I love Ben.
They are. They are. I
Love
love.
Ben. Love the men on this tribe, and I love the women. I love Maria. I love Jem, and I love Ben. I love Tim, and I love Charlie. I'm like, this tribe's awesome. No shade at Mariah. I'm just saying those five pregame. I was like, those five were probably my like top seven. So
Oh
like,
wow. Okay.
yeah. So it's
Yeah.
like,
I mean, so for the viewers who don't know, Pat and I are a part of a fantasy league that I host, where you get to draft 6 players. Um, and on my team, I have 4 from Sega because
I
I
don't even
just
think I drafted that much in that one of Sega, but like those are just like people that I read and I just felt good about. Like,
Yeah, I just loved Sega. I feel like they have so many great players. We haven't heard much from Mariah and Jem. I feel like I'm the same way as Pat. I love everyone on that tribe. No shade to Mariah for you, but you like obviously I guess she's probably like your least favorite on that tribe, even though they're all like people you like.
And
Um,
I
I feel
actually
like
have
that's
Mariah
Gem
like
for me.
I actually have her high. Like I had her like, but I ranked them 1 through 18 because I'm a nerd and I'm just doing this at work. Like,
Of
you know,
course, right.
but I ranked them 1 through 18, and like I said, five of them were in my top 7 or 8, and then Mariah was like 11. So it's like not even like she was like 16, 17, 18. Like she was up there as well. So like that whole tribe
Exactly.
was stacked.
And I feel like for me, that's Gem. I feel like I love all five of them. Gem I still like, but I think I'm the lowest on her. In terms of just
Dude, I had Jem's second
entertainment
highest of
value.
them.
Really, really. I don't know. I really like Mariah. Um, and I know Maria's going to be a big game player, and then I love all of the guys. Ben going
Tim.
into the season, I did not like. I still am not the hugest fan on him, but I think uh, he's like showing in his confessionals like the super fan of the season so far. Like he's just everything he does on Survivor, he's super excited about, super proud of, which I like. Um, we'll definitely see what happens with the whole Maria and Charlie as the Malcolm and Denise alliance, choosing to go with the Charlie's Angels or to go with the guys. And see, I'm curious which guy they go after because they'd have to go either after Tim or
I think they'd
Ben.
go after Tim,
I think they would go for Tim also.
which is
Um,
smart.
but I don't know, like they both seem like big personalities. Like it's crazy that one of them could be on the chopping block for their first tribal. It's wild to me.
Yeah, like I like thought going into this tribe. My initial thought on this tribe, because I had initial thoughts on every tribe, I predicted correctly that Yanu would be the disaster tribe. So for me, I was thinking that immediately, like Tim and Maria were gonna hit it off, and I was right. And I was thinking it was gonna be like Ben and Mariah on the bottom. And that was like my original thought. And I'm like pretty damn close because I think if it's probably, you know, we have to see what really happens if they were to go with Charlie's Angels and they take off Tim or Ben first if they lose. But I think with the women, we haven't seen enough to really know. But what I have seen from Mariah is more doubt, more sc- more screen time, and they both have little amounts of it. I feel like it could be her that would go in that first spot if they go after the women.
Who, Mariah?
Yeah, I feel like Maria feels better with Jam. I don't know.
I don't know. I hope it's Gem if they go after someone because I love Mariah. She's one of my favorites, even though she's barely gotten any confessionals. I'm hoping she sticks around. But I could see, yeah, I could totally see Mariah being an early target. It would. I'm hoping it would be Gem, and I'm hoping it would be Ben because I like Tim. Tim's my winner pick. Um, so uh, going into it, I thought Gem and Ben and maybe Mariah would be the three on the bottom. Or Maria too. I don't know. Like the older women, always I'm not never high on going into the season, and season after season they always surprise me, and they always play better than I expect, or they're even taken to the end as a goat, or they're end up being a huge player in the game, which
Yeah, Mama J,
kudos,
baby.
kudos to them.
Mama J.
Or except
Yes.
for Mariah in 42, she was cut early. But other than that,
She's like third boot.
yeah, she was like third boot or something, or second boot or something. I don't know.
She's like,
But yeah,
regardless, but yeah, those are our three tribes that we're at so far. Got into the beginning of this episode a bit, but we're gonna keep on the
oh,
gist.
and Randon, going back to Nami, Randon finding the beware advantage.
Yeah, that's
That
huge.
was that
Uh,
was crazy that after finding the beware advantage, he realized that, he doesn't have any close allies with anyone in particular, and he needs to choose one person to share his advantage with to gain trust and form a tight bond. Um, and after going after Venus in episode 1 and trying to target her before they even go to the immunity challenge, now he's telling her his deepest, darkest secret about the Beware advantage, which I thought was absolutely insane. Obviously, it ended up working out because Venus had nobody, so she was just looking for any sort of alliance. So the fact that Randon said this to her solidified them as a tight duo. But I'm just absolutely shocked that Randon, first of all, chose to tell anyone, and of all people, Venus, who he was targeting early on.
I'm with it.
I love it. I
Yeah,
absolutely love
I'm
it,
with it. I think that I
but I
think
think it's crazy.
it's,
It was crazy.
that could make some waves there. Because right there you could like be like you pull Liz. You know, they could pull Liz maybe, and then be like, yo, like their three is like pretty strong, and then you have like kind of Soda, and Soda might want to go with the girls there.
Uh,
I don't know
she seems
because
pretty tight with Hunter
she
and
thought she was in a
Devin.
majority, but she was, you know, what's the majority if, you know, it's four. She didn't have four. Who's there for?
Liz. I think Liz will go with the majority. She's doing absolutely nothing in this game. I don't think she's willing to make a move this early. I think she's just going to go with what the numbers already are.
Yeah, but then
I think
where's
that Randon. Do you think? I don't think he would, but I think this could be a storyline for when they go to tribal. Do you think Randon would give Venus the idol or play it for Venus to
yeah,
save her and get out a big threat?
yeah.
For some reason, I don't, just because it's already been two tribals, and I think the entire thing is going to be like Venus saying in confessionals, like, I really hope Randon plays it on me, and then Randon's not going to play it. Venus is going to go home, and then Randon has an idol going into the next tribal council. If they go again, then he knows he's safe, and then he can like flip to another tribe at the merge or something. That's what I'm thinking, because then they could just target him the next time around, um, or something. I don't know. Um, but
Yeah, who knows?
I wonder if Venus is going to play the shot in the dark. Probably, right? Would you think?
I don't know. I have a whole, you know, I have a whole next episode to see. Lots gonna
Yeah,
change. I think that relationship is could be huge. I don't know. I feel it.
yeah. And going back to what for Yanu, what Kenzie was saying to Jess and Banu, saying how they should form an alliance, take out the strength. And then Jess and Banu both don't agree right away, which I thought was odd. Like, why would you say like, oh, I got to think about it, or like, maybe not? Like, just say like, yes, I would love to be in an alliance with you, and lie. Like, I never understand people who get offered an alliance and they say no or they say maybe. Like, I just don't understand it. Now that person who just asked for the alliance is not going to trust you 100% because why wouldn't you just want to be in alliance with them? Um, so I don't know. I thought it was odd that Jess and Bonu didn't automatically say like, sure, like I'm open to it or something like that. Um, but I also thought it was silly for Kenzie to pitch an alliance with the three of them there when Jess and Banu had never worked together. Kenzie had never worked with Jess or Banu. She has a tight alliance with Q and with Tiff. Um, and I think it would be better off to try to get individual alliances with them. So like solidify something with Banu so that Banu's number one is Kenzie. Solidify something with Jess so that Jess's number one is Kenzie. And then maybe they can individually try to come together and make something happen at the next vote. But like just talking to them all together when they've never talked strategy before and saying, "Hey, let's get out the two strong people." I don't know. I thought that was a silly
Yeah.
move by them by Kenzie. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't I didn't think it was a good move on both parties because kind of, you know, what you said is true in the game of Survivor, you know, not in the game of real life. In the game of real life, say it how it is, right? But when you're playing this game, you got to tell people what they want to hear. And trust is everything out there, and especially when it's this early on and you know that you're a tribe that's destined for tribal council probably again, just because the way things have been going. You got to just like agree to everything. You're at the bottom. You know it, right? You got
Mm-hmm.
to know it. They both know it. They've both acknowledged it in different parts of the episode, right? That they're like, you know, it could be them had they lose. So you have to agree to everything, right? Because you never know like what could come of that. Because when you shut some, it's kind of like one of those things where you get a job interview, right? But you hear all the reviews are bad. and you're really kind of hesitant, but you really need a job and you really need to step into the career that you're interviewing for. And it's like, "Ah, I'm not going to take the interview." Well, then all of your options have somewhat, not somewhat, all the way deleted. To opposed to where you actually take the interview and you get the job, right? You get the job and things go well and you can do what you need to do and you can be successful from there. Or you don't get the job, but you get connected to someone that also has, you know what I mean? So it's like when you exhaust all options and when you make your options nothing, you have nowhere to go. So it was silly for both of them to shut that down, and it was silly for Kenzie to even bring it up
Yeah, yeah. I
because
think it was
she's trying to align
overall
her she's
silly.
trying to align her ducks way too soon because she wants to be in the good graces of everyone if they keep fucking losing and someone else wants to make a move. Well, they won't put it on me because I'm in everyone else's good graces and I've touched them. Like it's all about like I want to be the first in line because I want to be the first one to get this, right? It's like I want to be the first one to because you're the first one to get it. You're the best. You're the coolest.
Yeah, you want to like you want to get them to trust you. So you want to be like, hey, let's work together next vote. But you don't want to be like, hey, like let's get out either Tiffany or Q. Like you
Right, but I
like
think it's also when she says I want to get someone out, what it shows them, and I think that's what she's thinking, what it shows them is someone's willing to do that and they're coming to me for that. They have no reason to do so. So it has to have some validity to it because they could easily just pick me and you off. So if she's not bringing this up, we can just blow her game up. So if it's not true, we blow her game up. If it is true, we make a big ass move and we stay in the game. What is
exactly.
what do we have to lose by going with it? So you
Which is
just go,
probably what Jess was kind of thinking because,
yeah.
Jess saying like because of this, she kind of wanted to blindside Kenzie because one, she was playing too hard. Two, that was the first time that Jess and Kenzie had ever talked strategy. So she thought that was a little odd. Um, and so she goes and tells Q what Kenzie told Jess. Um, and now Q is even more skeptical of Kenzie, which is not good for Kenzie
Yeah, no.
because even though nothing happened at this tribal council, Q was heavily considering it, so much so to even bring up the idea to Tiffany. Um, and I think it's yet again next tribal gonna be Kenzie or Banu if they go to tribal again.
Right.
Um, and
On who goes.
I'm kind of I don't know. I'm kind of wondering that maybe Q makes a stupid move and turns on Kenzie. I don't know.
Mm.
Um, but we'll see what happens. I think it's obvious they should get rid of Manu, but you know, he, crazier things have happened. So,
Sure, for sure.
um, Charlie and Ben, probably my favorite part of the entire episode. Going at it head to head, listing off songs of the artist of their choice. Charlie with T Swift, Ben with Metallica. Charlie wins 108 to 106. That was wild. We would have never gotten that on a normal 1 hour episode. I'm so glad they included that. It showed their personality. It showed the kind of like social game aspect of it where they are not talking strategy but they're all hanging out as a tribe like just bonding um and made it kind of fun for the audience too, so I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
You didn't like it?
it was okay. I
I
mean,
don't know, I
look,
thought it was funny.
look. I totally agree with your point. It's nice to have more Survivor and it's nice to see something outside of that strategy, right? But I feel like I really, really hope in the time of that episode that they had more interesting things that they were doing that I would have liked to see because
That was
so
pretty interesting. They
it's interesting.
108 things,
Yeah, well,
108 songs they
and
listed
I'm
off.
not I'm no hater. It was cool, right? But for me, like I'm so and this is just me, right? I'm just one person. I am so into like the dynamics of the game. I don't want to leave, and that's not like leaving the game. Like that's part of the game is those social things where we're like naming songs. We're so bored, we have nothing else to do. Like we can only talk strategy so much. Like we're 24 hours together, right? So it's like you're gonna do all of that stuff. Like I played like a 3 day game, and I didn't even last all fucking 3 days. I was like there for like a day, and fucking I'm singing like songs that I did at my summer camp. You know what I mean? So it's like
Oh my god.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like that's how quick it can happen.
Hmm.
Like Hunter right now, where I'm like, I hate camp songs. Um,
Oh my
but like
God.
I
Yeah,
don't
you
know.
did say that.
I was just like I'm so into like just seeing strategy when I get like more time. Like I want to see that camp life and that strategy. And that was camp life. It was good stuff. So I'm not a hater, but
I
I
think it was
don't know.
also talking about Charlie and Ben's relationship, the Dumb and
It
Dumber
is
alliance
100%, which I
being
love.
strong. I think that could also be a little foreshadowing of maybe Maria and Charlie go with the guys.
Well, let me ask you real quick before we move on.
Okay.
Um, so far, and we're only two episodes. If you had to guess, which duo makes it out alive the longest together? Is it Hunter and Tevin? Is it Maria and Charlie, or is it Kenzie and Tiff? Or take you,
Maria and Charlie.
Maria and Charlie? Yeah.
I think they make it the furthest in the game together without getting broken apart. I think first to be broken apart. Um, oh, I don't know. I think Tiff and Kenzie probably first to be broken apart. Um, Tevin and Hunter. I don't know. It kind of scares me that in the scenes from the next episode, Venus seems to be very high on getting Hunter out. So if something happens with that idol, um, or if something happens with a shot in the dark hitting correctly, and then maybe Randon throws a rogue vote at Hunter, that could get broken up earlier than we expected, because we haven't really had many confessionals from Hunter. Um, even though we did get the Hunter and Tevin alliance with the what was it called?
The Andy Griffith Alliance.
The Andy Griffith alliance, right? Um, so I think that they're gonna make it far together, that alliance. But it scares me that Venus is targeting Hunter. I think she should be targeting Tevin, but whatever. Um, but yeah, I think definitely Maria and Charlie seem to be looking like they're going to be the most locked in out of and the least threatening to break apart going into the merge, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
What
No,
about you? What do you think? Which duo's making it out alive the longest? Which
Hunter
duo?
and Tevin. I feel like Hunter and Tevin are both in the finale.
Yeah, really. Both in the finale. Interesting. I did think that going into it. Now I'm not 100% sure, but I don't know. Like anything can happen. These predictions are just gonna blow up in our face.
They always
But
do. They always do.
they always do. But yeah, I don't know. I think Hunter and Tevin definitely I could see at the finale, but who knows?
Yeah, for sure.
It's just like these duos seem like they're going to be such big threats that they can't possibly all make the finale. So which duos are going to be taken out early? Which duo is going to be the one that actually makes it the furthest? So we'll see when it gets there. But yeah, I think if the shot Venus is trying to take at Hunter does not hit, I think Hunter and Tevin make it extremely far. Yeah. So let's get into this immunity challenge. We
Let's
got everyone finding out that Jelinski was voted out. Um, I think Charlie asks, were there several reasons for voting him out, which I thought was hilarious. That was such a great joke. I think Hunter made a joke like last name first out.
Yeah.
Um, so that was funny. And then Q, he doesn't even say anything that bad back. He just says like, "We're gonna show everyone that our 5 is better than their 5." Like, so something that like a normal like prideful tribe member would say. And then Soda takes that as like them taking a shot at them and saying, "How's the food?" That's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. That Soda said, "How's the food?"
Yeah,
And
she's
then
fucked if
showed
her
her body
top five
language,
is
pissed
in the
off
minority.
and stuff. What
If
did you
she's
say?
if she's in the minority in a tribe swap, she's fucked.
Oh, she 100%. 100%. I didn't draft her in our draft the other day, and I was like trying to go after every Soda member and try to get them to trade me her so that I can have her on my tribe. Now I'm so happy I did not draft her she does not look like she's going to do well. It seems like she's in the majority right now, but again, kind of like Q, they seem very set in their ways. They seem hot-headed. I don't think that they can make it far, and if they do make it far, I don't think they'll get respect from the jury. Um, so yeah, that didn't really look good for Soda. I don't think that's going to be that big of a deal going forward, but I think that the fact that she can do something like that and act the way she acted is not good going forward. If like someone is trying to blindside her or something, she can definitely take things a little too far, which might actually blow her up rather than save her. Um, I think, yeah, like you said, at a tribe swap or the merge, these jokes and comments could put her at a disadvantage. I'm putting her at 0.0% chance of winning the game. I went so quick from liking her to not liking her, especially after the stuff that Venus was talking about with Soda and the way Soda turned down Venus's conversation. Just a lot of things in this episode that didn't look great for Soda. Um, so I don't know. I don't think she's gonna end up winning.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah, let's get into this challenge a bit.
Oh, first I wanted to ask you, do you think Jeff always carries a pocket knife with him, or was production just gave it to him because they knew Nami put the bandana on the idol? Does he look like a
Oh no,
does he
he's a
give
man in
off
the jungle.
pocket knife energy?
He's a man in the jungle. I wouldn't be surprised if he just always has one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
Yeah,
surprised.
I don't
You never
know.
know when you're
I feel like I don't know. I feel like production just gave it to him, but like I can totally see him just carrying around a pocket knife like in the jungle. I guess I could see that because then he could use that instead of a machete to like chop down leaves and whatnot if he's like bored or something. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know if that'd be the reason, but yeah.
I don't know.
But yeah. So Ya used to losing. I don't know. I thought that was gonna, work. It doesn't work. Um, they could have used Jelensky's wingspan here, maybe.
Oh yeah, they would have won if Jelinski was there instead of Jess. 100%. 100%.
Yeah. I think that you know,
Unless Jelinski quit.
yeah. I mean, I like that challenge though. It was a cool challenge. It was tough.
hmm
Got all parties involved in a very taxing element. Stephen Fishback said this on the Know It Alls with Rob's podcast. Shout out Rob. Dang. But he Steven said, like there's this thing in Survivor to where like the first like three tribe challenges are like very hard, and then they get like a little bit easier, and then like the individual immunities are like a little bit easier, and then they get like really hard again. And I wonder how like true that is. Anyone that's listening to the pod, please comment and fact check that because I think all the challenges are fucking hard. Okay, because
Yeah, I think they're all just hard. I don't
yeah,
know. It all depends on the challenge. I feel like they're all like the same shit. Like
yeah.
it's just like
It's
go
supposed
get
to be like
keys
for
or
your average
untie
Joe.
ropes or whatever.
Yeah, it's like your
Carry heavy
average.
things.
Yeah, because it's like, they design them for your average Joe, but they're just like big and extravagant and like have these like big elements to it. But like really, it's like it's tough because of the conditions and it's tough because of like maybe like the weight of the pieces and like the puzzles are fucking hard regardless. But like,
Yeah, and they always have puzzles at the end of all the challenges.
yeah, that's where I
I
would get screwed. Don't put me on a puzzle. If I ever play you're on my tribe, if we're on a puzzle, we're going to tribal. All right.
I feel like for me it all depends on the type of puzzle. I feel like there's certain puzzles I'm really good at, certain puzzles I'm really bad at. So if we saw the puzzle ahead of time, I feel like I'd be able to determine if I'm a puzzle person or not. Um, but yeah, I feel like something that I don't think Jeff will ever do, but I hope he does, or I hope he gets a little more creative. Um, I've been watching the most recent season of Australian Survivor. I also watched All Stars. Their immunity challenges, tribe format and also individual, are almost always brand new, or they have such a unique um
Touch on
type
it.
of challenge that honestly is a great tribe challenge. Like the amount of challenges on Australian Survivor that are not even close to the same as what's on Real Survivor and are amazing challenges is insane. And the fact that Jeff keeps repeating similar challenges over and over again, season after season, and can't be a little more creative like Australian Survivor is ridiculous. Like it doesn't have to be puzzle every single time for the pre-merge. And then for the individual immunity challenges, there's so many challenges they could do, so many things that they could think about to make new challenges, and they just don't. Maybe one a season, and it's I don't know. It's getting annoying. Like I want it. If you're gonna make us sit through challenges, make them interesting, make them different. I liked how they made this one gigantic heavy blocks that you had to use that do that puzzle for. Um, I think that definitely uh was a step in the right direction, I guess. But they need to think of better immunity challenges. They can't just have some heavy thing that you got to bring to the puzzle and then a puzzle like every
Yeah,
single time.
right. Yeah. No, I agree. But yeah, Yanu loses again. Uh Going back to tribal. We'll touch a little bit on all three of these tribes before we do hit tribal. But what tribe you wanna, start with post immunity?
Well, first I just wanted to say a little quick thing about the challenge. Mariah and Liz pretty much lookalikes, hanging out on the sit out bench, making like cute comments with each other. I thought that was pretty funny. I wonder if that's gonna mean anything. If
Why not?
maybe probably not, but I don't know. Maybe they just showed it because they thought it was funny. Um, Liz was annoying the crap out of me. Constantly, like I kept hearing her in the back saying, Nami, 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 over and over again for like a good minute straight. It was annoying the crap out of me. I wanted to mute Survivor at that point. So I bet she was annoying people in the moment also.
Probably.
Um, and yeah, Nami wins the fishing gear, gets it done first. Then Yanu ends up going to the second tribal in a row. Everyone yelling at Jess, especially Banu. Tiffany visibly pissed off at Jess. Jess even knows that she's definitely on the chopping block because everyone was yelling at her. That Tiffany was probably talking about her. Tiffany was like, I don't want to say anything that I'm going to regret. Um, it was definitely emotional for them to have to lose again. And that was a tough challenge to lose too. Like even the tribes that won, like they were crying, they were on the ground, they were like out of breath, like their muscles hurt. Like it was a difficult challenge.
Yeah, I liked it. That was a good one.
Yeah. And Venus was talking about how the wagon went over her toe and the tribe didn't listen to her. Um, and saying stuff about how Soda was like trying to take the idol from her both times.
Yeah, not a great episode for Soda.
Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah, sure she's great though.
Yeah, I bet she is. Just I think a lot of bad things that we see out of people that we don't expect because of preseason interviews is because of not sleeping, not eating,
It's normal.
being on Survivor, the toll that
Exactly.
it takes. I think it definitely brings out the worst in people at times.
Hmm. Yeah,
So yeah.
but yeah,
But yeah, look,
let's talk about this Yanu tribe. They're going back to tribal. There's some things that come up here, but they immediately get back to tribal, and Tiff's worried about how people will perceive her. There's a confessional, her really touching confessional about, she doesn't want to be perceived as this like angry black woman who can't win, can't take losing challenges and stuff like that. And, it's just, her frustration is a sign of her strength and her passion to win. And it's tough losing, and they're the only ones that know what it's like to lose so far. So, I felt for her in that moment. I always feel for a tribe that, loses back to back, especially early on. It's like the other two
mhm.
tribes are like they haven't even touched the same game as you yet, right? So it's super tough there, but you know, we get to business here. There's some strategy talk that's gonna go down. And
You get a
Kenzie and
fake
Tiffany,
idol.
yeah, Kenzie and Tiffany make a fake idol. They want Jess to find it so she doesn't play the shot in the dark. Good idea. You want to make sure that you can make sure that, you know, because if she plays her shot in the dark, then you don't really know what's gonna happen next.
Because
And
yeah, then somebody else is gonna have to go home.
yeah, they hide in the most obvious spot, and like she's even getting led to it, and Jess cannot find it. My girl Jess, love Jess. I personally like if I was the other three, I would have went for Banu here. Just me. I
Yeah.
would have kept
How
Jess.
come?
I just love Jess. I think that she's someone who like is a poor sign of like getting like a really bad edit because like in her preseason super high on her. I was the highest on her in her tribe. And then besides Tiffany. And then during like her exit press that I like listened up to, it's like she's like I hate that I was like edited so like introverted. Like I was extroverted. Like they just didn't show like all this stuff. And
Oh, really?
yeah, and I believe that. And part of me just thinks if I was out there, that's who I want to work with like Kenzie. Like I mean not Kenzie, Tiffany and Jess. Like those are the two that I would be like immediately drawn to. Um and
Mhm. That's
Zelensky.
kind of crazy that she was like edited that way. Because
Yeah,
like
like it
all
was
the
so
times that
like
it
they were
showed
dunking on
clips of
her in
her,
that edit, dude. Like they were not even that, but like the other three were kind of like dunking on her. Like they were just like Jess just sucks, and I was like, no, like
that's why I'm confused about the edit because it seems like there were so many confessionals and so many real life video
yeah,
evidence of her being like just an awful Survivor player,
yeah. I
like
mean, just take
really
it for
talking a
what it
lot of
is, but
strategy. Like
I just think
she
there's
didn't want
room
to.
to grow with Jess, and I think that Jess would have been fun to see stick around. Um,
Yeah, and like with her and Tiffany trying to say like, hey, like we should go look for an idol, and then Jess is like,
yeah,
why you think you're in trouble? Like, should we? Like, well, no, like, but like, you should just want to go look for idols anyway. Like, especially because Jess should know that she's on the bottom. Why be like, should we look for idols? Is that a good idea? It's like you're going home, Jess. You gotta look for an idol.
right. And then we get to this really interesting point to where Q just hands her the idol basically and is like, I know that, he tells her, I know that I'm Banu and Jess is number one. I can just tell them who to vote for. He wants to tell them to vote for Kenzie because then it
Mhm.
puts Q in this big, powerful position. But the issue is for Q, like he wants to get Tiff on board. And it doesn't seem like in this very spot that Tiff wants to necessarily be on board this early. I think she just wants to straight shoot against Jess here. And
Yeah,
it
especially
sets up a
because Tiff
dilemma,
getting so
but it
close
set
to
up a
Tiff.
nail biter because I was like, is Kenzie really gonna go out second? That would be sick. But
That would have been nuts.
it would have been nuts as a viewer, but I would have been like snubbed because I'm like Kenzie has a lot of great like time left. I feel like I think we're gonna get a lot more like of her that's good. So it's tough because you
Mhm.
feel that way about almost anybody, depending on like when you're watching them and what they're saying, and you want
Yeah,
to
but I
root
think
for
that
everybody
was
sometimes.
I think it was smart for Q to not do this move without Tiffany
Yeah, I agree.
because then his two will close because then Tiffany would feel burned. And now if he moves forward with Tiffany, Tiffany's always gonna in the back of her head be like Q lied to me and blindsided me. And then if she doesn't let it go and is so upset, then now Q's closest allies are Banu and Jess, which just didn't look like a good combination.
Yeah, I
So
mean, it was kind of like I feel like it was a fake out too for us. Like, obviously, it was real. It was out
100%,
there, but
100%.
like, I don't think that it was ever gonna happen.
I
And
don't
we
think
just
so
see like a
either. I
lot of
think it
just
was
like
talked
these.
about barely.
Yeah, we see like a lot of these like alternate universes of like Q, Jess, and Banu, and then Kenzie, Jess, and Banu. Like you see all these like different universes that are like, but the real one is it's Tiff, Kenzie, and
Yeah,
Q.
it seems like there was like only one conversation about Kenzie, and then with Jess and Banu, one conversation about Kenzie with Tiff, and then one conversation between Jess, Banu, and Kenzie. Like there was only one time it was said, and so they used that and then just edited it so that it seemed like Kenzie was definitely going, it was possibly going home.
Yeah,
Um, but
and
I
then
don't think it was ever a possibility. But it was definitely smart to talk to Tiffany because if Tiffany was on board, let's say, then now Q and Tiffany's alliance is tight. And then if Tiffany's not on board, at least Tiffany knows where Q's head's at and that Q won't blindside her with something and will always come to her with the plans. So I think that just solidified Q and Tiffany's alliance even more. And I kind of think that Tiffany and Q, Tiffany's number one, I think, is Q, not Kenzie, in my opinion. What do you think?
I don't know. I think she has two number ones. I think it really
If
just.
she had to choose one, though, like,
I feel
yeah,
like she probably goes with Q. She probably goes with Q. You're probably right. But Jess finally makes like a not a move, but she like attempts to like just she tells Banu like you're who everyone else is saying. Like Banu starts to get a little bit of fear in him as well. Let's get into tribal council because we've talked a lot about these tribes and these dynamics, and we know like a lot about what had happened here. But I want to talk about a tribal because Banu makes some questionable comments again.
yeah, and even before all these comments that he makes at tribal council, also the comments that he makes like right before tribal council when Jess says this to Banu about like, oh, like the girls are targeting you because you're emotional, and Q's strong, and then he gets so pissed off that they're throwing his name out. But like you got to think about it this way: if all three girls are at the well, the only people that could be possibly on the block to vote out, if all of them are talking strategy, are the two guys. And why would you vote out Q, the strongest person? So obviously Banu's name is going to go out.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's so emotional that he's that upset about his name going out, when if he actually thought about it, of course his name was going to go out by the three girls. Why would they want to target Q? Is just like that just shows that he's way too emotional. Like it's not like it shows how bad of a survivor player he is. Like you can be emotional, but you can't be that emotional to not understand that it wasn't a big deal having your name thrown out.
Yeah.
But he blows up a tribal. He makes it seem like it's all about him, that he's definitely going home. He says that um, he has he says that he's had alliance talks with Kenzie, Tiffany, and Q. When Jeff points it out, like, so you just said you're in alliance with Kenzie, Q, and Tiffany. So that means is Jess going to be the one voted out now?
He's like, it's time to vote again.
Yeah, yeah, right. That's what I thought he was going to say. He's like, it's time to vote again, Jeff. It's just so stupid.
Yeah, then he
He's
starts a live tribal.
yeah, and yeah, he starts the live tribal, and Q makes a good point, where he says like, I understand that in the tribe format it doesn't matter as much, but you got to think if Jess has an idol and writes down my name now that she knows she's going home, then I'm the one that gets screwed, not you, which is a great point. And also funny that Jess did pull out an idol, a fake
Yeah,
idol.
big guy.
Um, and but yeah, Banu starts a live tribal, goes to everyone, says like, hey, are you voting me, or what should I do, who should I write down, are we still good, are we still good with the plan, um and after it's time to read the votes, Banu is the first name. He grabs his water bottle, he gets ready to pack up all of his stuff, he knows he's going home for sure, and then all the other votes are for Jess, and he looks like a fool. That's
Yeah,
what he says. He says, "Oh, I'm such a fool."
yeah, he was, but it's okay, Banu. Paranoia gets to you. It's tough, but yeah, we lose our second player, Survivor 46. Rest in peace. It's been real. It's awesome to go out 17th apparently in the new era. You get some legends like Zach Wertenberger, get Maddie Pamili, get Brandon Donlin. It's
Mhm.
17th. If you don't win, maybe 17th is like not bad.
Yeah, yeah,
But
exactly.
like yeah, so who knows? But yeah, before we get out of this episode here, I know we got some picks to talk about here. Some pool picks.
Yes, we got some survivor pool picks. Um, quickly, we'll say some scenes from the next episode. So we got Venus. Seems like she's gonna go for Hunter, which we talked about. That's gonna be
Yeah, that's nothing. That's
interesting.
not happening.
Yeah, we'll see. A boat is coming. There's gonna be another journey.
Maybe.
Um, what do you think if you were the game maker? What would be a good game for the journey that you would want Survivor to implement?
Hmm. It's a tough
Or
question.
do you, or do you think because we can talk about this and maybe talk about it. We could think about this and talk about it next podcast. Um, but do you think it's going to be the same? Do you think it's going to be different?
No, I think it'll be different.
Do you think it's still going to be somewhat of a like a prisoner's dilemma type
Maybe,
deal?
maybe. Um, I don't know. I would definitely have to think about like what I would do. I haven't thought about that, but I would get rid of them entirely. But that's just me.
Yeah,
If I
yeah,
had to
yeah.
think of like a really cool concept, I would have to think about it. But I will come prepared next week for that, and we will
Mhm.
touch base on that.
What I
We'll,
think
we'll,
would
we'll
be
reflect
fun,
on what we saw. So
what I think would be fun is to have a challenge, like an immunity challenge or a reward challenge at the journey, and whoever wins gets an advantage.
I was
Whoever
thinking that
And
too.
then whoever comes in last place loses their vote, and whoever comes in second, nothing happens.
Maybe you
Uh,
just have to like. There's like a big like pole, and it's going this way, and you have a big ass like log, and you have to like squat and hold the log like your head in the log, and the first one to drop loses their vote, and the last one to drop, the first one to drop loses their vote, the last one to drop wins their vote, and the one that doesn't drop, like I guess the third person, like the one that's in the middle, not first, not last,
right.
they
Second.
would, yeah, math, fun. Um, I'm in social work, okay, not math. But maybe that person just like fucking loses their vote too. Only the person that just
Yeah, yeah. Just like whoever doesn't win this challenge, just lose your because Survivor loves people losing their vote apparently. So why
yeah,
don't we just like make the entire cast lose their vote except for one person? Like
right,
at this point, like seriously.
right,
Uh, but yeah, let us and then right, Banu calls Kenzie mermaid dragon
yeah,
and ask and like is crying, asking Kenzie that for help.
yeah.
Um
That's gonna be funny.
that's
No,
gonna be
no
fun.
shade, but it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good TV. But yeah,
Oh yeah.
let's get into these pool picks. I know who I'm picking.
Yeah, so so now that we have all of the members of the survivor pool and situated, we started with 19 people, and already after episode 2, 3 people got eliminated because they 3 people picked Jess. They tried to be a little risky. I thought that was a little too risky, and I was right. It was too risky. Um, so now we have 16 people remaining going into episode 3. Let's see if Pat or I could be one of those 16 that win this whole thing.
Okay.
So, Pat, who would you like to pick for episode 3?
I don't know if this is too ballsy or not. I'm going with the Nami tribe.
Okay.
Uh, Soda.
Okay. How come?
Uh, yeah, I'm gonna lock it in. Um, One, I don't think they'll go to tribal. Two, if they go soon, like I feel like she's not in game, and I don't want to choose Randon or Venus because I feel like it could land on either of them because of that Beware and because of them being on the bottom if they do lose. And I also just don't want to pick Liz because if like I'm right that one of the Venus and Randon go, then I can maybe like save Liz and not have to use her as early as I think, depending on where the dynamics fall. So I kind of want to just go with Soda.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
What about
I think it's a good pick. I think Soda's not going to go home. Um, I think Soda could end up being, if they get to the merge, possibly someone who gets targeted early. Who knows? Um, I'm kind of going with, I'm going with you in terms of the people who stood out before the immunity challenge started. Soda for was for you, and I'm going to go with Q. I think that Q is on a losing tribe that's going to keep losing and be down in numbers. I can totally see Q being someone who won't go home next round if they go to tribal again, but is also a big physical threat and someone who I think could rub people the wrong way at the merge. So I think he would be a very obvious close to merge boot in my opinion.
Yeah,
Um,
I like that play.
so I feel like just taking him now is a safe bet. Give it a couple more episodes to really see what the alliances are going to be like. Um, with the other two tribes. I think if Siga goes to tribal, I will know. I will probably pick someone from Siga the next episode, whoever is in the majority alliance. Um, but yeah, I'm scared. I'm scared of picking anyone from Nami. Venus, I think, could easily go home. Randon has an idol, so I want to save Randon. Um, Liz is a wild card, no idea. So, and I think the other three are gonna make it at least a few more episodes together. So I'll save them for later.
Yeah, I had Q up there. Good pick.
And Kenzie also, Kenzie and Banu. I already picked Banu. Kenzie scares me, and Tiffany's gonna make it super far. I'm saving her for the end.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's a good move.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's it for Survivor episode 2, season 46. It's picking up a bit. Got some good pool picks in. I'm gonna win. Uh, just put that on the record now. But
All right.
we're gonna get back to you for episode 3 of Survivor 46. Thank you all for tuning in. Remember to answer the trivia in the beginning of our video. DM us on Instagram at Tribal Alliance Pod, and we will be back with you guys next week for episode 3. See you.
See you guys.